Okay, guys, so for episode number 3 of the online coaching series, I want to dig a little bit deeper into the physical setup process when it comes to setting up your coaching business. So, I'm not speaking from a how to pick up clients angle or how to mentally prepare yourself to be a coach or anything like that. We're speaking from a tangible perspective right now of what you physically need to do to set up your coaching business. Now, this isn't a conclusive guide because every coaching business is different, and what you may need to target your target market is obviously going to differ from person to person, but I'm just going to cover some of the generic stuff here that I think it's important to do. The first point I want to make is that what I'm about to go over is not the be all and end all of your coaching business's success. The name, the logo, these things are important, but it's not going to determine whether you have an ability to pick up clients or whether you have an ability to work with those clients and get good results. That is what's going to bring you more business, because people come to you for results, not because you've got a cool name. So inevitably, if you don't get good results, you're not going to get repeat business. It's as simple as that. But speaking from an optimistic perspective, if we've got those boxes available to tick, we may as well tick them. And the amount of time in the grand scheme of it that we have to put into the littlest things that are like logos and names and stuff like that, it is worth getting right. So there's 4 things I want to initially cover, and that is the name, the logo, the mission statement, so sort of what is your actual objective, and the message that your brand provides as well, because these things are important. So we'll go through them in that order. So the name, what are you going to call your business? This is more important than you may think, because it is the first thing that people see. And if they see trained by, coached by this, trained by that, they probably are not going to think that you're very creative, which may then sort of transcribe to what they presume about your training programming or your diet planning or whatever. And it also will not stand you out from the crowd. You know, if you've got a name that everyone else has got, how are you going to stand out? How are you going to beat those guys? Because getting off the ground ahead of them with the same name is hard. You wouldn't call your restaurant McDonald's because you're never going to compete with a business that's already standing. So it's important to be original, it's important to stand out, and it's important to have that individualistic feel to your brand. Similarly, this brings me on to the logo. Again, it needs to stand out and it needs to speak volumes for who you are and what you do. So, for example, if you look at the Bull Strong logo, it's got strong in there, indicating that our primary target market is people who have an interest in getting stronger. Bull is the second part of my surname, so it has that individualistic, personal feel to it. And the image is a trained bull that's big, muscular, and in shape. So it speaks volumes for what I do. I work with people who want to get in shape or people that want to get strong, hence the powerlifting message that my brand provides. And you can see how thought out that process is. So moving us swiftly onto that, the message and the mission statement. What do we want to do as a business and how do we do it? So the message. What do you do? Who do you work with? Who's your target market? You have to think about things such as, are you going to portray yourself in a funny, comical way, or are you going to portray yourself in a serious, educational way? Now, I don't want to work with people who take their training, their diet plan, their compliance as a joke, so I try and eliminate as much fun as I can from my life. No, I'm joking. But I want to try and come across in a way that's serious and provide genuine value as opposed to just comedy. If you're interested in working with people who have a laugh and this and that, then you want to communicate that with your branding. You want to be a funny character. So that's important to think as well. And people don't often think that deep into it, but I think that is a critical point when it comes to your brand. Finally, the mission statement. So where do you want to go? What do you want to do? Do you want to just be a little online coaching service that you operate part-time around your current employment? If so, fine, not an issue. Just call yourself something coach or this or that. If you want to take some bigger steps and some deeper dives into the industry like I wish to do, then call yourself something that can be represented throughout. So Bull Strong can go on to do anything because you can do Bull Strong clothing, Bull Strong nutrition, Bull Strong this, that, the other. And it gives me that opportunity to grow without having to rebrand and potentially lose that touch. So beyond that, there are a few other things that obviously we have to consider and potentially have to get in order to set up our coaching business. Now, obviously one thing we have to set up is our coaching systems. So, our platform, our application, forms, our consultation calls, our coaching sheets, our check-in forms, our trackers, all this sort of stuff. And I'm going to go through each of those systems in a video to themselves. So I'll show you how to build a check-in form. I'll show you how to interpret data from that. I'll show you how to structure a consultation call, and we'll go through a video on those individually in due time. For now, I'm just going to sort of move over those and not necessarily forget about them, but just push them to one side for now. And we're going to speak about the physical, tangible things that you need. So, of course, you're going to need a phone to operate communication. A coaching service without communication is probably going to be ineffective. You aren't going to get the things done, let's say, and you aren't going to build that relationship, which inevitably will keep the client interested, keep the client invested, and you're going to struggle to see long-term results if you don't communicate with your client. So that's important, and obviously a phone. I mean, you don't need a phone. There's WhatsApp web on the computer, but a phone's useful, especially for Instagram. A desktop or a laptop or something somewhere where you can coach. So I guess an additional add-on here would be a working environment and a working space. So a desk, or try and, at least if you can, section off an area of your house or wherever you are staying to dedicate to doing your work, because if you do it in bed, you're going to struggle to dedicate work and social time, and they're going to overlap, and it's not healthy. So it's important to try and dedicate an area to do your work in, and obviously within that area, as I said, you're going to need some form of desktop or laptop, and obviously there's going to be quite a lot of systems on there as well. So you're going to need a payment system. So how are you going to take payments from clients? Are you going to use an invoicing system? Are you going to set up bank transfers, or what are you going to do there? And we'll cover taking payments in a video. You're going to need probably a consultation call service. You're probably going to need an application form, as I said. You're going to need a website potentially if you have the budget to do so. This is something that I would say you only really need to do if you've got the budget to do it, because it's certainly going to help. You know, it's an area for you to publish transformations, share a bit of information about the service that you offer, publish content, go on to, if you want to do what I do and venture into clothing and this and that, it's a place to sell stuff via a shop. So it's definitely something cool to have, but it's not something that you necessarily need from the get-go. More importantly, and finally, an Instagram. It's really important with the modern day and how you're generally going to capture new clientele to have Instagram and all other social medias. The only reason I say Instagram is because it's the most commonly used one for coaching, I do believe. So YouTube is great, Twitter, Facebook, whatever. Social media, you need social media. The final thing you need is a willingness to actually put the effort in and work hard, because if you haven't got that, good luck with whatever it is that you want to do. It doesn't matter how good your name is, how good your logo is, how cool your website is, how innovative you are on Instagram, and how creative your posts are. If you don't give a shit for your clients, and you don't care, and you don't invest in the process just as much as they do, your coaching business will flop immediately. So hopefully that clears up a little bit of an introduction into the setup process, and from here on out, guys, we're going to be diverting more so onto a physical Loom video where we actually look at individual systems. So we'll see you in episode 4.